Behind this portal lies the Magic Realm, and when you first walk through, you'll be greeted with this. This has to be one of the worst builds in the game, which I think is so sad because it's gotta be in one of the coolest environments in the game. But so I am working on my own custom save file right now, and as you can tell, I finally had the courage to tackle this place. And since I want my save file to be available to anybody, I'm only using the base game and Realm of Magic for this. And as you can see, I decided to start over completely from scratch. While I continue to figure out the new shape for the build, let me explain some of my thoughts with the original. Okay, so problem number one. What even is this place meant to be? If you go ahead and save this to your gallery, you will find that they did actually write a description for this, but it's just basically a whole bunch of nothing. To me, it really unfortunately feels like they just kind of went, we need like a magic place for the magic people or whatever, and then they didn't really think about it any further. So I discovered they did actually think about it further. This is editing LadyLoea, by the way. But so as it turns out, if you have the werewolves pack, there is apparently more lore hidden in there. So I don't think they really thought about it a whole lot originally, but then they added some stuff after the fact. So I guess credit where credit is due. Regardless of that, I actually want to have my own lore in my save file anyway. And so yeah, I came up with my own crappy fan fiction, my own lore that I wrote. And oh boy, did I write a lot. And I shall explain all of that to you now. My idea is that a really long time ago, humans and spellcasters used to live together. However, not in harmony, and the humans would low-key bully the spellcasters for being different. Because of this, the spellcasters decided to hide themselves away. And there was one guy who was particularly upset about this. And it's the guy that I already made in the game, who I've decided to name Alabaster Vorvicus. Alabaster is an actual crystal in the game that is used in some magical potion recipes. And Vorvicus is a word that I just kind of made up. Oh, and I also tried to make him look like the statue from base game. And you best believe I was very precise about it. But this way we can use the statue in our build and pretend that it's depicting him. Because he's going to be important now. You see, he was a huge nerd studying magic day and night. And he became really good at teleportation magic, which led to him teleporting his mansion into another dimension. To be honest, it was more of an accident, but it worked out really well for them, didn't it? Because this then turned into a safe space for all of the spellcasters. So yeah, that's the story of my version of the Magic Realm. It's an ancient magical mansion that got turned into a central hub for spellcasters these days. So I want there to be some rooms that are basically the same as back then and others that got changed a ton. And I want all things important to spellcaster life to go in here. Like I want there to be a graveyard, and I want there to be a place to get married. I even tested out if you can have babies on the slot as well, but unfortunately you can't, so no baby room for us. But all of the other stuff should be possible. Anyway, that was a lot of blah blah blah. Let's see how the shell is coming along. Yup, it's coming along. Okay, so problem number two. What style should this be? I've had another look at all of the buildings in Glimmerbrook to see if they would give me anything. But needless to say, they give me nothing. Apparently, they're meant to be inspired by a style called Art Nouveau. And looking at these pictures here, I really see the influence. But can I be so honest? I don't really like this style. I was really lost until I remembered I'd actually built in Glimmerbrook before. I made this cute bar that I either want to call the witch's hat or the witch's hut, I haven't decided. And I made this for my save file as well a really long time ago, like before I started making videos. And my gosh, past me is a genius. Like, this place is so cool. So I'm thinking I kind of want to make it like this. And does anybody else feel like this place is kind of more steampunky? Now, steampunk is a style I really like. So yeah, I've basically already decided by then we're going to make it look kind of like this. Maybe you were already able to tell that I was going in a direction like that because of me building the shell in a way where I was just basically putting a bunch of random shapes together. If you're a beginner builder, I can honestly really recommend trying to build in a style like this. Maybe don't make it as big as this the first time around. But like I said, you can just kind of put random shapes together, and if it all comes out a little wonky, that's part of the style, right? The only problem is going to be the roof. which for the longest time here I did not think about until it dawned on me that I have to somehow put a roof on this, and I was like, oh no, maybe I should have thought about this earlier. But miraculously, it worked out really well for me. You know, it would surely suck if something bad were about to happen right now. Yeah, around this time the game gave up on me, and I couldn't remember the last time I saved. So for a minute there I thought we were going to have to start over completely. I was so nervous loading back in, but turns out I actually did save not that long ago, and me panicking like that was honestly kind of for nothing. And this here is my genuine live reaction after loading back in, inspecting the damage, and look at me freaking out. But so luckily I could restore everything that I'd lost, which was not that much, pretty quickly. And from there I continued and I finally put in some windows. And by the way, thinking about the lore, which more on the lore later if you're interested in that, but are we thinking that this entire place, this entire building was the original mansion that belonged to that guy? Or are we thinking that was a lot smaller originally and they added more rooms over the years? Because I feel like both is very well possible, but that's not something that I really considered while building. I just kind of built. But anyway, here I had a look at the gallery picture that it rendered, and I noticed that I felt like the roof looked kind of empty, and so I did something that I actually did on another build for a spellcast that I really liked, and that is I just put trees on the roof. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but this place is magic, so this is hardly like the craziest thing that you're going to see in here, I feel like. And then to go along with it, I also decided to finally select my roof color, and I found this really pretty teal shade, and I just think these two colors are so slayed together. I'm so happy with this. But yeah, I also added some columns, I changed some windows out to ones that I like better, and with that, the front section is pretty much done. Obviously I add more to it later on, but here is kind of a view around of what it looks like so far, and I think it's coming along pretty well. So yeah, here's what the front looks like. I also add some more interesting wallpaper to all of this later on, but again, I'm doing that later on. And then here's also a look at the back, which is still missing all of the windows and stuff, but I really like the shape so far as well. And then here, I randomly decided to go on a side quest because I had a really cool idea. I was thinking some more about how to make this build steampunkier, and I remembered in steampunk media, a lot of the times they use blimps, right? And zeppelins and all of that sort of stuff. So I was like, what if I try and build one of those? And I'm so glad that I had this dumb idea because it led to a truly big brain moment. You see, I found these water balloons, I think is what they're meant to be, in the debug menu, and I was like, wait, this is kind of perfect. If I kind of clip them into each other and stack them next to each other like this, it creates kind of that shape that these sort of blimps or zeppelins have at the top, right? Here I also placed the build on another lot to try and see if the balloons come along when you download this lot, and luckily they do, so we can actually use them. And so yeah, I think, like, look at it, I think that works really well, doesn't it? The only problem now is that the balloons are red and they don't come in any other color, so I had to use these. And so the entire build process, I had massive trouble trying to include that red somehow in the rest of the build, but I think I managed to solve that problem in the end quite well. But yeah, as you just saw, I placed a boat underneath the room so that the underside of the blimp is not as flat. And then, so that there isn't nothing to do up here, I also decided to place the big telescope as well as a small telescope for which I built a little balcony out front. So your Sims can come up here to look at the stars. I think that's kind of nice. And in case you've been wondering how to get up here, I just decided to use the portholes. You can just get these from debug. And by the way, yes, the big telescope does clip into the upper section of the blimp because it's bigger than a room is that has short wall height, but most of the time it is covered by the balloons, and so I think it's okay. Hold up, you'll see me placing those portals in just a sec. And by the way, I decided to place the other portal that this leads to inside of one of the rooms inside of the house. And so we'll furnish this in a bit. But yeah, with that, the side quest is complete. I am so proud of it. I think it's so cool. I'll definitely have to remember this and maybe use this in another build. But yeah, next up, I wanted to take a look at the outside. So as you can see, we have some space around the mansion. It's actually not that much because this lot is actually not that big. And so up in the top left corner of the lot is where I decided to make that wedding place. And here it is. I think it's so cool, especially because I didn't try to make it conventional. Instead, I kind of made it circular like that. And it has a very cool feature as well, because right across from it, I made a little painting station. And so the idea here is that if you have Sims get married on this lot, you can have a third Sim walk to this painting station. And if they have a high enough painting skill, there is actually an option to paint from reference. And so you can do that and you can have like a live wedding painter. Is that not the coolest thing ever? I even made a little test painting and this is what it would look like. And then next up in the top right corner, I decided to get started on the graveyard, where I've already built a little something, including this a little awkward but alabaster grave, like the guy from the beginning, his grave. More on that in just a sec. But you see, I was kind of not feeling this at the moment, so I decided to have a little look around in the Magic Realm, and I actually discovered that there is a mini graveyard in the environment. It's hidden right over here. It's not accessible and it's completely decorative, but so I decided to use this as my inspiration for the graveyard. And so once again, it's kind of unconventional and it's kind of circular. But yeah, I essentially just took this and sort of made a bigger version of it. And here it is. And I'm a big fan of this design. I think it's so fancy, but I really like just the idea of making all of the spellcaster stuff a little unusual, not how you would expect it. Kind of like the spellcasters have their own culture, and I really like that idea. I think it adds a lot to the world building. Here is also what it looks like after I spammed a bunch of plants on it. And by the way, for all of the foliage, I just kind of had a look at what's around in the environment and I just used the same items. But yeah, let's actually address the elephant in the room, which is Alabaster's grave. So yeah, so Alabaster is dead. I'm so sorry. Basically, all of that stuff I talked about in the beginning happened like years and years and years ago. That was probably already obvious, but I don't know. And I'm still not sure on the way that he died, because I feel like him just dying of old age would be kind of a bit boring, but I haven't really thought of any cool ideas for like a conspiracy surrounding him or anything like that yet. Anyway, what I do know though is that in my save file I want him to be kind of a free roaming ghost, so my plan is to put his gravestone right here by his grave. Makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm hoping that while your sim is in the Magic Realm, that his ghost will just pop up from time to time the way that it would on any lot. I'm not sure if that's going to work though, but I hope it will. And this is maybe also already obvious, but he's gotta be like one of the most important, if not the most important figure in spellcaster history. And so the spellcasters consider him to be like a legend, essentially, and they really admire him and all of that. But was he really so great? Well, more on that in a little bit. Anyway, let's get back to building for now. I actually got kind of bored of landscaping, and so I decided to furnish some rooms on the inside. And here you can see I already did a little bit in this training room. The reason being is I wanted to test if my idea works, which is that I wanted to make it so that Sims will come here in this little sand pit that I made to have the magic duels instead of going other places, and I think it works relatively well. I'd say in the end, for my testing, around 75% of the magic duels happen here. Yeah, but as you can see, I actually decided to take care of the room next to it first, which is the library. And so in here I basically just placed bookshelves, seats, all that stuff. One detail I really like is how there is a book right at the entrance. I was thinking maybe that's some sort of book that tells you where all of the books in here are. Also, there's a little hole in the ceiling, which combines the room above this with this one. And so above this, I also decided to have more library. And right now I have them connected by a ladder, but I actually removed this ladder later on because I just saw so many Sims walking up and down this and preferring to use this over the stairs. And so the ladder unfortunately had to go in the end. And what I'm building right now is very interesting as well, because as you can see, I decided to place Alabaster statue right here. I'm thinking this particular section could maybe contain books about his life and maybe even books written by him as well. And let's talk about him some more actually. Yeah, like I already teased a second ago, the spellcasters remember him to be like this amazing guy, but in reality he wasn't that nice. I was thinking, what if he's mad at the humans for casting them out like that? And so he wants to get revenge. And not just that, what if he thinks that the spellcasters are better than the humans and other occults as well? And I know it's kind of a basic goal for a bad guy, but what if he wants to take over the world? As in, what if he wants to make the spellcasters kind of have power over all of the other people? And so I imagine during his lifetime he had a lot of power over all of the spellcasters, and so what if he used his influence to kind of nudge them in that direction? And what if he tried to make them think that that's what they want as well? Anyway, so here I'm putting in the last details into the library, and then I also took care of the room upstairs where I, like I said, just basically built more library. And it's also connected to this room on the side, and this is where I put that portal that leads you up into the blimp. And this little room off to the side I basically just turned into like a little potion making room. And then I decided to take care of this room all the way over here on the ground floor again. And this place I basically turned into like the cafeteria, I guess, if you can call it that, but this is basically where they get all of their food. And so over here in the smaller room I just basically built a generic kitchen, with the only exception I guess is that I also put a cauldron in it. And then this room is connected to that first room that you first enter when you walk in, where you also have the stairway and everything. And so in the back section here is basically where I just put the food area, and so you'll see me add some tables and all of that later on. But as for the kitchen, I basically just tried to make it look super cozy in here. And one thing that I find super cool is that I connected the outside and the inside of this room with like a cool window thing, sort of. I think there's like a proper term for that, for when you have like a window that connects the kitchen to like the dining area, but yeah, I don't know what that is, so. And the way I made this is by using an archway actually from this pack and raising that up and then placing some counters underneath. But so here is also what I did with that dining area. Like I said, I basically just placed some tables, some seats, and I think it's quite cool. And then right after that, I also took care of sort of the entrance area, and I didn't do too much here either, but I think it's quite nice. And so I just basically used a bunch of plants, some seats, and I also put a little place to put up your jacket, because I feel like that might be useful, I don't know. And then off to the side, I had this little awkwardly shaped room, and so I just turned that into a bathroom. Oh, and here is also what the upper section of the stairway looks like. And I'm such a big fan, I think this looks so fancy. And by the way, because I know you were thinking about it, yes, the stairs are centered with the door. And next up, let's actually finish up that training room that I already worked on a little bit. And here's what it looked like after I finished it. And this particular shot was me being so excited over the fact that the Sims were behaving exactly how I wanted them to. And here we actually had 2 duels in the sandpit at a time. To be fair, one of them was initiated by me, but still they picked this spot autonomously. And there were still some Sims hanging around in kind of weird, awkward spots, but that should be fixed by the time that we add a bajillion plants out here as well. And with that, the entire lower level was fully furnished. So let's move on to the next level, where I started with these 2 rooms right here. And so what I decided to make here was, first of all, Alabaster's office, again relating to the lore. But you can't actually get into his office just from the hallway, but you need to go through another room first. And so I decided to make that room into his assistant's office, sort of. Because like I said, he was literally that big of a deal. And here in the office, I actually decided to change the windows a little bit from how I had it originally to make it more interesting. And this is also maybe the only spot, I can't remember, but maybe the only spot where I used those stained glass windows. I wanted to have a lot more of them originally because I think they're so pretty, but they didn't really match with the colors how I wanted them to. And so yeah, this is what the fully furnished version looks like. I even had him sit in the chair to see what that looks like. And I kind of decorated this like they turned it into an exhibition today, like with the rope fence and everything. And then here is also what the assistant's office turned out to look like. And so I imagine this is where the spellcasters do all of their bookkeeping and that sort of stuff these days. That's the most boring detail ever. But let's actually talk some more about spellcasters these days. And I hope you're not getting bored of my random lore drops. But so I'm thinking that Alabaster at some point knew that he was going to die. Whether that's because he heard of some conspiracy against him, or whether he just knew because everybody dies at some point. I don't know at the minute. But he was like, okay, I can't be around forever. I'll prepare ahead for when I'm gone. And so he's also the guy in my lore who appointed the sages that you find in the Magic Realm. And so I'm thinking that in my story he specifically appointed 3 people and not just one guy because of the 3 different elements, where you might be like, okay, but can't one guy just know all 3 of the elements? But no. In my story, I want to make it so that every spellcaster has to pick one of the elements. And then they can also do alchemy. I don't care about that. That's a freebie. And yeah, I'm thinking that Alabaster chose practical magic because that's the category that teleportation magic is in. And so that's also the reason why his design is very green and why I made his office and all of that stuff very green. But anyway, back to the build. I built a bathroom right next to this up here so that we have one of those up here as well. And I basically just copied all of the stuff from downstairs up here, plus I added some more things. And also, I did use the stained glass windows in here. Earlier when I couldn't remember if I used them in some other spots as well. Yeah, I lied when I said that might be the only one. I did also use them in the bathroom so that you can't look into those. And speaking of which, I feel like the stained glass windows in his office kind of make for some cool symbolism, don't they? Like his office being one of the very few rooms where you can't look into them from the outside. Kind of could also relate once again to how he was secretly a very shady guy. And then after that, I actually came back to the outside simply because I felt like doing that more. My build process is always such a mess. But so out here I decided to build like a little garden with some hedges. It's basically like the world's worst hedge maze out here. And remember how I talked about how I had lots of trouble including the red in this build from the blimp? I tried to include some more red here with this, so I placed some red flowers, although they don't help that much because the flowers are really small. But I also found like a red sign in debug that I decided to put on the roof. It's kind of funky, it's a little bit of a weird detail, but I think it also just adds to the steampunkiness. And as for placing some more obvious red on the floor, I tried some different things. I tried using those magic beans, I think? Are they called that? But there are some red ones like that, but I didn't really like those. I ended up using rubies that I just sized up. At some point I also found like a strawberry in the debug menu that I tried sizing up, and it looked kind of like a mushroom, but unfortunately after testing I found out that when you download a lot of the gallery they don't come along, so unfortunately I couldn't use those. And as you just saw, no Sims cannot pick up the rubies and steal them because I was worried about that, so I had to test that, but luckily it's not a thing. And I also failed to mention that I placed some teal crystals at the roof, and I think they look so cool as well. And so the color scheme that we ended up with is kind of red, teal, and pink, and I really like those 3 together. But so after that, I decided to come over to the area to the right from here, and I didn't really know what to do with this place. And you know what I do when I don't know what to do, which is a pond. And I actually used pools for this so that your Sims can actually swim in these. And I don't know if that was wise because Sims like to swim a lot and then run around in their bathing suits a lot, but oh well, it's too late now. I also built a little bridge across the pond here that is actually functional. And here is me testing it out. It looks a little wonky because the bridge is technically on the next level. That's how it actually works. But I still think it's very cool. And then this next clip coming up in just a second is once again what it looked like after I spammed a bunch of plants on this place. And this time around I also finally remembered to put some lights out here. In the end I made sure that everything outside is very well lit up because I almost forgot, but in the end luckily I didn't. And also I didn't show off how I put some rocks and some stuff at the bottom of the pond to make it look more like a pond, but I did that as well. Ooh, and then here I once again went on a little side quest, and for this one I also don't know where I got the idea from, but I randomly had this idea of like spellcasters having a little tea party floating up in the sky or something along those lines. I was like, that's kind of fun, what if I try to make something like that? So I made like this circular platform that you can once again get to with a portal, and I placed a round table on here. I also discovered that one of the rugs from this pack fit perfectly onto this thing, which made me so happy. And then I also put a little tea maker up here so that you can have your little spellcaster tea parties. And yeah, it's kind of random, but I think it's really fun. And as for the area directly below this, I once again decided to put a pond. Partially because I didn't know what to do with this area either, but also to make the pond that we just built on the other side look more purposeful. And so I basically just kind of copied everything from over there over here. And so here is once again what that looked like with the plant spam. And I did kind of try to section off this back area a little bit because I noticed that a lot of Sims were walking through here. And if you actually use this to get married, I didn't want a ton of random townies to just walk across your wedding the entire time. And this is where I discovered something interesting about the portals, because they work in a way that I did not expect, but should have expected because it makes sense. But so if I click on this one that I placed right here on the platform, you'll see that the option says return to HQ. So if I tell him to walk right there, you'll see he'll use the portal and he'll spawn at this portal right here. So long story short, the portals that I placed on the lot also connect with the portals in the environment, which I didn't want to happen. But unfortunately, it's too late at this point to kind of restructure the lot without portals, so I think we're just going to have to live with it. In fact, maybe this is a good thing, because I remember from playing here that it takes ages for Sims to walk everywhere. And so maybe this will help cut that time in half. It does mean that they'll path weirdly, but I think it's okay. Anyway, I decided to turn the last room on this level into a little dorm room so your Sims can sleep on this lot as well. And then with that, this level was done. And moving up to the next one, this big room that you immediately enter after walking up the stairs, I decided to kind of turn into like a activity room, like a games room, something along those lines. And I'm sorry, by the way, if I'm speedrunning the whole decorating process a little too much, but this video is long enough. So after that, I decided to take care of this room right next to it. Ignore the random guy that's in it, I don't know where he comes from. But one detail I also really like about this is that there is a landing platform up front. And I also added this in a few other spots. And the idea is obviously that your spellcasters can use their brooms to land on there. But so as you can see, I decided to turn this room into Alabaster's bedroom, where I've again kind of made it look like it's an exhibition today. There was also a weird tile right next to the door that was kind of glitchy, I think because of the roof next to it, so I just decided to block that off and pretend it's not there. But yeah, speaking of Alabaster, right? Don't worry, this is the last one. So one thing that I think could also be cool is if he has descendants that actually live on in my safe. And obviously they don't live here anymore, and instead I want to build them a house in Glimmerbrook. But yeah, I think a lot of cool stories could be made with that for the Sims, because like, how do they deal with such big of a legacy? And I'm thinking that he didn't just influence them, but also all of the spellcasters. And so yeah, I'm thinking in my save, I kind of want for the spellcasters to be, well, evil, and think they're better, and think they want to take over the world and all of that. I just find it more exciting to play with Sims that are kind of bad. Anyway, there was also this little room right next to it, which I decided to turn into a potion making lab. And so this is what it ended up looking like. There are also plenty of other spots where you can make potions in this build, but I thought it would be nice to have kind of like a designated area for this. And then I moved on to the last remaining 2 rooms on this level, which I connected with an archway, and I decided to turn this into the war room, plus the weapon storage. But so the original Sims 4 lore is that all of the occults kind of have like a conflict going on, especially the werewolves and the vampires. And I'm thinking I kind of want to pick up on that in my save, and so this is where they would plan all of their advances, plus their advances on taking over the world. And so I took my time with this table here to really get the idea across. So on here I placed a bunch of like plants and some liches, and I really like this as well, where I used the My Sims trophies, kind of like the tactical war figurines that they'll use. And then over here in the other section of the room is where I placed all of the quote-unquote weapons. So this is where I placed some wands and some familiars as well. Unfortunately, I don't think your Sims can pick them up because they don't own them. But I do actually remember stealing from the Magic Realm lot before, so maybe I lied just then. I don't know. And then this floor was done as well, and I moved on to the next one, where originally I had a lot of things planned. Like, I remember that I wanted to build like a room for kids as well, with like a bunch of toys for them, so that if you come here with your kids that they would have things to do. And I remember wanting to build like a whole plant room as well. But in the end I decided against that, and I just took the walls down and I kind of made this into like a generic attic space. So this ends up being pretty much empty, and I placed around like a few decorative boxes as well as some random stacked wood from debug and that sort of stuff, because I felt like there was already so much on here and I didn't want this lot to lag, although saying that, it's probably going to lag for some people. And with that, the interior is done. And so here we are moving on to like the final touches, the very last thing that I did. And one thing that I noticed towards the end is that I felt like the blimp that we built at the beginning is kind of too low, and I wanted to raise it a little bit, which seems like not that big of a deal, and it wasn't. Except for, remember how I placed a boat underneath it to not make the underside look as flat? Yeah, that was where the problem was at. So I had to like bend over backwards to try and place a platform underneath that and then raise up the boat from that so that would fit exactly how I wanted to underneath. And this was one heck of a hassle, but somehow in the end I managed to fix it. And then here in just a second you'll see me check out the gallery thumbnail again, and yeah, I think this looks so much better. I don't know, it's just a little bit higher, but I think this just makes it cooler. And while doing this, I also noticed that I completely forgot about the interior of this, as in I was going to place some seats in here and then I completely forgot somehow, so I did that now. And yeah, with that, the blimp was finally fully finished as well. And next up, I noticed that I actually had not finished the outside entirely either. I thought it was done, but I had another look around and I noticed that this little corner back here was actually still empty. And I mean, I could have left it empty, but I had one final really cool idea for the lore. Again, with the lore. I'm sorry if you're only here for the build, by the way. But, I mean, the story kind of makes the build, so yeah. But I was thinking, so what if the spellcasters get their magic powers from some deity? And I had a look around through all of the items in the game, and I was like, is there anything that could like represent that deity? And I found like a wooden sculpture, as well as like a shield item for walls. And I was like, this is so perfect. This is so cute. So what if the spellcasters have like a dragon deity? And so I went around the build and I placed a bunch of references, as in the wooden sculpture of that dragon, absolutely everywhere. And I'm thinking once again back to Alabaster. He could have totally used this. Since he was such a star, I'm thinking he could have absolutely said like, oh, actually the dragon said that you need to do this, and people would just believe him, and that's how he manipulated people. But so I think I completely forgot to say this earlier, but I decided to build like a little shrine dedicated to that dragon in the last little corner, and I think it turned out so cool, especially because there's like a tree right next to it that's actually off the lot, but I think it adds quite a lot. I think it looks quite pretty with like the leaves hanging over. And then the very last thing that you'll see me do here is add some more things to the outside of the build. I mainly changed up the wallpaper a little bit to make it more interesting, and I also added some more things to the walls, and that's it. There was actually originally one more thing that I had in this video, but unfortunately I decided to cut it out because it didn't work, and so I was like, why keep it in? But have you ever noticed while playing in the Magic Realm that the sages seem to be hanging around in the same areas a lot? That is actually not you going insane, but it's a real thing. There are hidden invisible items in the Magic Realm that kind of attract the sages. And I like downloaded a whole mod to get them and to place them. But then I tried downloading the lot from the gallery and I discovered that those items did not come along. which is so sad. So unfortunately that won't be in the download because I can't put it in the download. I might still download the mod and put the items in my final save because maybe then they'll come along when you download a save. I don't really know how it works, but I guess I'll figure it out. But yeah, with that, the build is finally complete. I shall send you off to Future LadyLoea for the final tour. Hiya, this is Future LadyLoea reporting from the Magic Realm. Okay, where do we even start? I guess let's maybe do like a perimeter check first. Okay, so out here we have once again the world's worst hedge maze. So we have the rubies, we have some seeds, we have some planter boxes for you, some random townies. For some reason they seem to love this particular spot to practice their magic is something that I've noticed, but that's fine with me. And the other side's pretty much the same with the cauldron. Over here we have my ponds, and this is something that you actually couldn't see while building, but I also placed in like the magic sprites, visual effects, whatever these are, into the ponds everywhere to make them look all magical and all of that. Here's my little bridge. I never know what field of view to use, I guess. There you go, bridge. The noises you hear in the Magic Realm are kind of crazy. Here we have a dragon. We are going to find loads of those, trust me. And yeah, this is my graveyard, which I still think is so cool with the way that all of the graves are placed. And then back there we have, oh, that's so epic with the lights. We have Alabaster's grave. By the way, if you want to place your own graves here, these are all fake graves from Debug, so you're going to have to use that cheat to build unlocked lots, and you're going to have to remove them. You're probably also going to have to remove some of the plants here so your sims can actually get to the graves, but that's okay. I promise I won't be sad if you do that. Back here, I don't think I really showed off this area too much. I just placed another pond. Again, some rubies. Kind of to tie in the back to the front and the sides and all of that. Also, side note, the water in the Magic Realm looks so, I don't know, it looks so juicy, like I just want to. Anyway, there is also some stairs back here, and I basically just spammed a bunch of plants everywhere. And here we also have some picnic tables to sit down, and then over here is the wedding area. Okay, there are sims walking back there. Okay, that's not something that I want. Why do they do that? Oh, somebody painted here. But yeah, once again, kind of the circular wedding area plus the painting station for making paintings of your wedding, or, you know, paintings like that. And then this area is kind of blocked off so your sims can't walk through here. But back here we have yet another pond with some magic thingies in there. I also use this little like broken pier from Debug, and I think looks very cool. By the way, I didn't use any terrain paint everywhere. I tried using it, but it didn't look right, so I just didn't use any. Again, that spot, they really like that spot. That's so weird. But yeah, here we have my little shrine that I built last, which I think looks so cool with the leaves. And there we have the dragon. Also, I almost forgot, but up here, hold up, give me 5 years. We have the little tea area. Oops. Tea area. Okay, and then let's actually go inside. So you would walk up these stairs and then go through this door over here. When you enter, you are immediately in front of these stairs. To the left, we have this. And also a little bathroom. Oh, hello. We have a little bathroom. Yeah. And then back here, we have the kitchen along with the dining area. Don't think I showed this off too much, but it's basically just tables and some seats. But I really like them. With the curtains and all the custom placed pillows. Super cozy. And then there is a door back here that leads you to the kitchen. I think this is so cool as well, like the vibes in here. Like, love it, yes. I think these jars are just perfect with the little dead aliens. And I did paint the ceilings. I didn't forget, I did paint them. And yeah, this is what that kitchen window that I'm very proud of looks like. Again, it's just an archway from this pack. Just kind of raised up like that. And then through here, through this door, is where my little training room with the sand pit is. No magic duels going on at the minute, but they do seem to be using this spot for that. And so yeah, we just have some gym equipment, some benches, and back here are also some wands that I placed. And then there is also this door here, which leads to the stairs that we just saw outside. And this door back here goes out to a little balcony. And there are actually, I don't know if it came across in the video, but there are actually a ton of these little balconies. This one doesn't actually have anything to do on it, but there are some with some activities on them as well. And then through here is to the library. And yeah, again, I think the vibes in here are just so cool. There's lots of Sims in here as well. Did that guy just spy on somebody or something? Okay, interesting. Yeah, but people really love hanging out in here. And there is also a little hole in the floor, unfortunately, now without a ladder. But yeah, they really like that ladder a little too much. And then back here is Alabaster's little corner. I also really like this, with these bookshelves on top of the fireplace. I gotta remember this. But yeah, walking back to where the stairs are. Oh my gosh, he actually held the door open for us. How polite. But if you were to walk up these stairs, this is, by the way, what the staircase room looks like. No, what's the word for that? I forgot. The staircase room looks like this. Anyway, through these doors is the office of... Oh! Morgan with a Y is chilling here. What was I gonna say? Oh, the assistant's office is in here, which I mean, I could probably say that about every room, but I really like the vibes in here as well. Again, little dragon, and also a balcony, or actually a landing platform out here for your broom, if you have one of those. There is something clipping through the ceiling here. Ah, what? Okay, interesting. Oh well. Through here is where Alabaster's office is at. Ooh, mysterious, creepy. And I placed down this little thing, as in to say that this maybe was like the wand that he used all the time or something like that. And again, a little dragon statue of him, of course. And also a little hidden box back here that you can actually place things inside. So maybe for my save file I could place things in there that somehow relate to the lore. Also, I've been thinking about this a lot, but something, is that the wrong side around? I don't know which way it's supposed to go. Wait, no, I think this is correct. Is it? Maybe this way is the correct way. Anyway, what I really want for them to add to The Sims is that you could like click on items like this, and then it has like an option to write text, and then when you hover over it, that the text gets like displayed. Because how cool would it be if I could like add text to this and, you know, like write a diary entry from Alabaster's perspective or something like that. That would be so cool for adding lore to builds. EA, gimme. Oh, and through this door right here is just like a, well, basically another balcony, but I had some awkward space left up here, so I just decided to turn this into like a indoor balcony of some sorts. I don't know, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but at least this way that space also gets used somehow. Back into the hallway, and here is the stairs to the next level. Morgan with a Y once again. Why are they just hanging out here? Okay, well, I won't question it. Oh no, okay. Bathroom. Yay. I actually put a lot of detail into this one. Look at the candles next to the bathtub. How romantic. But yeah, put a lot of detail into this one. Back into the hallway, and through this door is the dorm room. Yeah, it's pretty basic, to be honest. Just some beds so you can sleep, and another dragon. Really like this circular window though, above the bed. And then through here we have library part 2. And it's pretty much the same as downstairs. And oh, more clipping objects. Is this? No, what is it? Oh, is it the... no? Oh, it's from this. That's odd. Okay. And here we have the little hole. Oh, look. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We also have this like side room right here, which I don't think I showed off decorating this in the video, did I? But this is what it looks like. Yeah, I think it's very cool. I think it's very cozy. Somebody just used that portal. Through here we have another... Are they following me? Okay. We didn't see that. Okay. Out here we have another little balcony, this time some plants and a watering can. How cute. And that's pretty much it. And then through here, through this portal, is what leads you to the blimp. Give me a second. Oh no. The higher you go up in the game... Oh, this clips through the ceiling. Interesting. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Oh no, this is the best I can do. No. The higher you go up in the game, the weirder the camera becomes. But this is what the blimp looks like from the inside. Maybe let me maybe just show you like this. Although it's also very hard to look into in this mode. Oh no. Oh gosh. Blimp. Yay. Okay. If we walk out back through this door and up these stairs, we get into my little activity room. Yeah, games table, chess table right here, other tables, area to chill, and a bookshelf, and a fireplace with a dragon. Oh gosh, that camera. And here we have once again some doors that lead you out onto a little balcony. Yeah, through this door we have a little extra bathroom. I almost didn't include one on this level, but I think this is probably very useful to have. Back here is the war room with my little figurines. I'm still very proud that I had this idea because I think it's very smart. Maybe the leaves could be like spellcasters, and then I think this guy is called Morcubus, right? Maybe that could be like vampires or something, and they're like, you know, planning something here. Out here is another door to a teeny tiny balcony that I don't think you can even like... No, I think they should be able to walk on this. Maybe not through this item. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. We also have a little a little bar. Oh my gosh. With a dragon. And yeah, again, stuff that is clipping through the ceiling. This is so crystal. Oh well. And then, oh, right. Not just that dragon, also this dragon. But then through this archway, we have the weapon storage. So we have some brooms, some familiars, and some wands. As well as a cauldron where you could, I suppose, make potions. But yeah, if we come back out here, we have... Oh, somebody who didn't hold that door open for us. This is the potion making lab, which again, I think is so cute. There's even a little... Oh! That guy just took a picture of the plant. Even a little frog here. I think you use frogs and so... Oh! Oh no! Oh, I did an oopsie right here. I didn't realize. Well, too bad. Whatever. Also took my time to put a bunch of stuff on this counter island counter right here in the middle. We have the cauldrons. We also have a workbench. Don't really need this in the Magic Realm, but I thought this may be useful. I don't know, maybe making more of the dragons, which by the way is another right here. And then out here we have another tiny balcony with a portal, which I believe is the one that leads you to the tea party right here. Yeah, no, that should be it. Okay, and then back through the door and the other door. Then in this last remaining room, this is Alabaster's bedroom, which you can't really go into because it's an exhibition. You do have a mirror though, that you can access. But yeah, this is what Alabaster's bedroom looks like. With a little fireplace, the bed, sofa, I don't know. Pretty basic bedroom. Well, not basic, but it's got all of the basic things in it. And also the landing platform out here. I know that the landing platform technically makes Alabaster's room accessible, even though it's like not supposed to be because it's an exhibition. But I'm fine with that. In fact, I feel like that's kind of a cool idea for gameplay. Kind of have like a quote unquote sneak in secretly. Oh, also I'm aware that the bed clips up here onto this other balcony, which I shall show off in a sec, but I'm fine with that. I honestly don't care. One last staircase up here, and this is to the very generic... Ooh, more stuff that's clipping. Anyway, it's fine. But this is the very generic attic, which I left empty for now. There is one, again, a chest up here, where we might put some things that maybe relate to the lore. I haven't thought of anything yet, but could put that in there. And other than that, just some clutter. And this is the little balcony with where you can see the top of the bed. And then we also have these two doors, and these lead out to these areas up here. Not really any reason why these need to be accessible, because there's nothing out here. But I just thought it'd be fun to make everything accessible. Let me also show you, oh my god, go away! End quest, okay. Let me also show you what it looks like with the floor plan. So, this is what you would actually see if you're, like that, if you were actually playing on here. And this is also what this level looks like. What was I going to say? Oh, I'm very proud of this build. I think it turned out so cool. And then here's the next level, where a lot more Sims are hanging around, are they? And then the bottom level is like the busiest. I think that makes a whole lot of sense, honestly. But there are also a few people hanging around up here. But yeah, there's more stuff to do down here. I have also seen people use these beds actually, so they do that. I am totally thinking that I also need to build like a steampunk build with all of my packs, because I love the style so much. It's so cool. And then here is the, oh look! They're having a little duel in here. That's cool. That's exactly what I want. Here's what that first level looks like. Oh, somebody's actually checking out this section. And yeah, that is another duel. Let's go. See, it does work how I intended it to. I think that's very cool. Who won? Oh, this guy. But yeah, that is pretty much it. With that, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Usually I uploaded multiple videos together, but what? Did somebody die while I recorded my... What? No. What? Surely they didn't. So I just watched the entire raw footage of my tour back. And it's so wild, everything seems so normal, you would have no idea from watching it back that somebody died somewhere along making this. I guess when you're flying around in tab mode and a townie dies and you're kind of a bit far away, you just don't notice apparently. I did, however, while I was showing off this room back here, accidentally catch the aftermath on camera. And so you can see my sim with the Grim Reaper, with the urn, and a crater, which I assume still has a meteor inside. And so what must have happened, I think, is that they must have used this telescope up here that I have on my blimp. And when they use this, there is actually a small chance that your sim might get struck by a meteor and that they die. They get like a little moodlet that's like, oh no, your sim is about to die. And then when you get that, you need to run inside quickly. And if you're still outside by the time that runs out, then your sim dies. But as far as I know, they don't have any like survival instincts of their own programmed into them. And that's kind of the challenge about it. So I bet that person used this telescope right here and then went, oh, wait, time to go home. Went through my little portal, came out this one, and then walked downstairs, out the door. And if they had taken their sweet time, they would have survived. But the moodlet must have run out right here and then they died. Or maybe it was a glitch, I don't know. Either way, that's crazy. I don't think anything like that has happened to me ever before. Anyway. I was gonna say, usually I uploaded like a bunch of videos together, but this one is kind of a standalone one because this was a massive one. Editing this was an absolute pain. But yeah, let's maybe show off the blimp. I'm very proud of this one. And then also let's do some like aerial shots. Is that the correct word for it? Shots from afar, basically. Kind of had a scene that I really liked at the beginning. That kind of looked like this. Oh no, it's kind of blurry though. Oh, do I have to be close? Oh, wait, no. There we go. Ah, look at how cool that is. But yeah, I do have more videos coming at the minute. I'm building a mall in San Myshuno, which is so cool as well. Ah, look at that. I'm so proud. I feel like it's kind of something straight out of a Ghibli movie. Why am I so slow here? I really like the vibes. I think I said that 20 times already, but it's true. It's just true. Yeah. Look at that. Back there. Very cool. I will of course upload this to my gallery. I'll just call it the Magic Realm. And my name on the gallery is LadyLoea, that is LadyLoea. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye! I know exactly what to do with this. This spot is kind of still empty, yeah. And save. I don't know if they'll come along in the download. That's actually something that we can test. Give it a minute. No, they didn't come along. Oh, that's so sad.